Welcome back to the Conversion Stack. Make sure to like, share, subscribe on your favorite platform. Leave us reviews. We love the feedback. And today we are chatting what the heck is full stack marketing. Mark and I are going to dive into a 10-question Q&A, and we're excited to chat. So let's dive in.
Awesome. Well, to kick us off, Dan, how about you give us a little bit of a definition or the background on what full stack marketing actually is?
Cool. Full stack execution. I think it's something that we're really trying to coin in marketing. We've all heard of full stack execution and it's called full stack development.
Yep.
And really we define full stack execution as having the capabilities and workflows to execute all components of modern marketing.
So is it full stack marketing execution? Is it full stack marketing execution, full stack execution? I've heard us use them all. Is it all the same thing?
It's all the same thing.
Got it.
We throw in the word marketing to make it really specific to marketing, since you could do full stack execution for vehicle development,
right?
For anything you want. So it's full stack marketing execution. In today's world, if you're a digital-led organization, you need to be able to execute the digital tool set fast, effectively, and at world-class level. And from our viewpoint, to do that effectively, you need expert marketers. You need technical marketers for the analytics components, right? You need content individuals. You need designers. You need developers. And what we want to drive and promote inside companies is this need to have that full stack resources and full stack workflows so you can do a full stack execution and move fast and effectively in your demand.
Got it. So if you look at full stack marketers, that's a marketer who can do every stage or every tactic within the funnel from awareness to purchase, right? And that could be one person. But with full stack execution, are you saying that you need multiple people?
Yeah. There's this idea of a unicorn marketer, but even that is typically not as technically and design savvy.
Yeah.
So we define full stack as both the capabilities, the skill sets needed.
Got it.
And the workflows, the ability for those skill sets to work together to spin up things fast. And one way to think about it is at a typical company that doesn't have full stack execution, how long does it take to do something like build a landing page?
Right.
We're able, or a company that has full stack resources dedicated to marketing should be able to build a world-class landing page in a very short time.
Right.
But often it takes months to get a landing page out in live.
Yeah, I just want to make sure there was a difference there, because if you just talk about a full stack developer, they can do it all, or if I think the term full stack marketer is out there now, where they can do it all, where a startup wants to hire somebody who can do it all. But in reality, it seems if you're doing full stack execution, you can't just rely on one person. So I just wanted to make sure there was that difference there.
No, I think that's interesting. It can often be, I think the term most commonly known is unicorn marketer.
Right.
And I consider that to be different from full stack execution. Full stack execution is a dedicated marketing team that has the ability to do all the components of digital marketing fast and effectively.
Got it. Cool. Okay, so now that we understand this concept of what full stack execution or full stack marketing is, why should every, let's say, is it just SaaS companies who should be executing it, or is it every company with some kind of product should be executing it? What's your views there?
I think our view is any digital-led organization should have full stack marketing.
Can you define digital-led? Is that I have a digital product, or is that, I feel or is it digital first marketing?
It's digital first marketing. Is digital your core or one of your core drivers of business?
Got it. Which I would almost assume is most people nowadays.
I think
there might be some niche industries where
I think it feels that way because we live in the SaaS digital space. I would argue that a huge part of the world is not deeply integrated in digital like you would think. Oil companies are not more of those. Obviously, that's an odd example, but the companies that we primarily interface with, which are B2B SaaS companies or consumer-driven organizations, digital marketing is where their customers exist.
Yeah. So what's the benefits of having a full stack execution instead of maybe, I guess you would call what's not full stack execution, single channel kind of execution? Mm-hmm. So what's the benefit of having a full stack, team who can execute all different platforms and all different like stages of the funnel?
We communicate it as world-class digital marketing is a requirement in today's business environment. The days of hacking together unbalanced landing pages and just throwing dollars at Google ads are long gone, right? All of a sudden your cost per click is $200 in any relatively mature industry, right? So the ability to make sure that every component of your marketing stack, what we typically call your conversion stack, to perform at its full potential is a requirement in today's environment. So actually have business efficiencies and be able to grow and be able to measure and all the things that are required to win today.
Do you think the customer or like target market's expectations have changed? I mean, at one point in the world, like unbalanced landing pages were fine. Not to like knock unbalanced. Like it's a great way to like get a landing page up quick if you don't have all the resources.
Yeah.
But like I think it struggles to have some of like the design or probably some of like the analytics like connections that you want, right? What's my question gonna be?
Yeah, you were asking if consumer expectations have changed.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. So it's like so is that like unbalanced may have worked, 5, 6, 7, 8. I mean, I've used them in the past, right? Even as a designer and like made templates to hand to clients. So like has something shifted where that's not the norm anymore, or do you think they like never worked?
I think everything shifted, and that's why this is so important.
Yeah.
The consumer expectations and the way they engage with the internet is so mature,
right,
that anything other than flawless experiences and flawless execution is limiting your growth.
Yeah.
And I keep using landing pages because it's an easy example when it comes to a full stack execution. But when I go to a website that's not properly structured and I can't find the things I'm looking for, or the conversion experience is not aligned with what I'm trying to do,
right,
that's a missed opportunity, and I'm going to find the right opportunity.
Yeah.
And anything of that sort, even when I'm reading content, am I getting to valuable content that is driving my buyer's journey, or is it another repurposed blog post, something somebody else said a week ago, just so I can get another SEO blog out into the world?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that is driving the need for world-class digital marketing, and to do world-class digital marketing, you need full stack execution.
Yeah, I think we've seen like all these like WYSIWYG tools, or like what you see is what you get for like landing pages, or even like Canva. I'm sure they have like Facebook ad templates or something, right? But like I think that's like raised the bar on like the bottom feeders, if you will, or like entry level companies have like raised the bar for them. But to me, and I think to the consumer, you can still, even if it's just a gut feeling, like feel the difference between like something like that or something that's just like a blog article that's like super SEO heavy, right, compared to something that's actually like helpful, or something that people really spend like time and like is well structured and makes sense.
Absolutely.
Cool. So we talk about full stack marketing and execution. We can definitely focus on like the people, right? So you need a conversion center designer, you need a marketer, you need to do somebody who's an expert email developer, all these kind of things, right? But is it just having, it sounds like it's not just having the right people. You also need to be able to work together.
Yeah. I think that's a critical component of full stack marketing, is having more than just people, but the processes and workflows for those people to work effectively. What's happening today, most marketing teams are under-resourced. And then if you happen to have some resources, you're bringing in a freelancer, and then you're pulling a developer from your product team. And is that better than the one marketer trying to hack it together with unbalanced, like we talked about?
Yeah.
Yes. But the outcome is misalignment in incentives, right? You have different teams, different individuals from different teams working on different priorities.
Right.
They don't have workflows and capabilities to work together. So it's still piecing together projects.
Right.
Where you want aligned incentives and aligned workflows. So it's not the first time you're doing anything every time.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it in the past, is like you end up spending time trying to figure out how to execute something instead of figuring out like what the best content or concept or any of that to make it actually like a good concept or good landing page or a good ad is like you're just trying to figure out how to launch that webinar and all like the tools behind it.
Yeah, I think an example that I really like is ad strategies, right? When you think of a mature ad strategy, it thinks full funnel, it thinks various touch points. In those full funnel touch points, it's more than just targeting, which the marketer can do. It's ad design, it's landing page experiences, it's website experiences, and all those things need to be aligned, and they need to all understand what's required for that to be successful.
Yeah.
So when they're all focused, incentivized around demand gen and marketing, they're able to piece together that cohesive experience, which is how you win.
Right.
And I think of workflows, just to make an analogy that's really simple. You can have all the components. To me, that's a Ferrari without an engine, right? You have the wheels, you have the body, you have the seats, but you need the engine for it all to come together and go forward.
Yeah.
And that's really a big piece of how we make full stack execution fast and effective.
Yeah. So you can have the people, but in order to be fast and effective at what you're doing, you really need like workflows or even like playbooks for each one of like the tactics you're trying to execute. And so you can keep replicating them and doing over them in like a very quick and effective way.
Yeah. And I think a punchline for me would be non-aligned groups can create, like fully aligned groups can deploy.
Got it. Say it one more time.
So when you have a really good systems and workflows, you can deploy full stack marketing really effectively.
Yeah.
Which is the most important component of creating. Anyone can piece together landing pages and ad assets, but can it all come together and go out into the market effectively to achieve your goals?
Right.
So the deployment part is, I think, where workflows and systems really matter.
Right. 100%. I think that's where we've seen people like that we've worked with where, we come in afterwards where they say like, oh yeah, we tried doing webinars, but it's kind of like they spent so much time figuring out how to do the mechanics of like a webinar. And then it's 3 days beforehand, they're like, oh crap, we got to send out ads, you know? And then there's no like email day of, there's no follow-up emails. And they're like, well, webinars don't work.
Yeah. That's a great example. And that's one that we see very often because everyone's doing webinars.
Yeah. So they took like 3 months to figure out how to do a webinar, 1 week to actually maybe figure out how to promote it in some half-baked way, and then chalk it up as like webinars don't work.
Yep.
So we bounced around this idea that, or I guess, this concept of full stack execution. What are and that you need multiple people to do it, but in your mind, what are the actual different skill sets or people that you need on a team that's going to be doing full stack execution? Yeah,
awesome question. And to jump into that one, I'm going to backtrack a little bit and hoping that we can chat through what does a typical digital marketing team look like today? Yeah. And again, we work with typically high growth mid-market technology companies. And the typical marketing team is a marketing leader.
So like a CMO?
Yeah, CMO, director of marketing. They have a content specialist. Maybe they're doing ads in-house or externally.
Yeah.
And that's the marketing team. That's a typical layout of a marketing team, I would say.
So like a marketing leader, content, and then some kind of like design or creative.
Even design and creative is often like outsourced.
Yeah.
The marketing team that we're seeing is the content individual, like the writer.
Yeah.
Ads, and then leadership.
Got it.
Generally, they're on the resource and they're piecemealing from development and freelancers to actually deploy their full stack capabilities.
Got it.
And they want to be digital first companies, right? Digitally led companies, where to actually be an effective digital led company, what I think the makeup of a modern marketing team should be is your marketing expert, so your digital marketing expert.
Is that different than a CMO?
This is more execution. So maybe I'd call them like digital marketing manager.
Okay.
You need your technical marketer. This can blend with your marketing manager, someone that really understands analytics, integration, CRMs, all the components of that marketing stack.
Mm-hmm.
You need your content individual. Then you need your designers and you need your developers.
Got it.
So when you have all these pieces, pretty much any mature marketing strategy that you're seeing today can be effectively built and deployed.
Got it. So you need probably at least like 5 to 6 individuals to really execute every stage of the funnel, all the tactics for like full stack execution.
Yeah. And I think that's an area where companies would not be happy to hear, because we don't love investing in marketing.
Yeah.
Right. We love investing in product. We love investing in sales.
Right.
But then when you look at really high performing digital led companies, and one that I always use as an example is like Airbnb, who's like super dynamic and adjust super fast, very product led in their marketing experience. They have huge, really dynamic full stack marketing teams.
Yeah. So I think that's probably why, I mean, like hiring, if you only have a marketing team of 3 and you're trying to, and we're saying you need to double it to 6, right? That's like doubling your budget at least for like your people resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why people want to like offboard that to some kind of agency or like a freelancer or something where maybe like the workflow is moving up and down. There's like less commitment. Why is that not the right choice?
I think that is the right choice.
To have like a freelance designer, like somebody who's coming in and doing like your analytics setup.
No, sorry. The right choice can be to seek an agency that has full stack marketing execution.
Got it.
Example, OM Performance Marketing.
Yeah. So you don't want the like marketing leader to end up just being like a resource manager of like trying to tie together some freelance designer. Exactly. Pretty much like a project manager, just like trying to connect the freelance designer to the analytics hire to the outsourced whatever team, right? Cool.
Yeah, and that happens often. And again, this is not for everyone. It's not easy to fully resource a marketing team or hire a full stack agency, since they tend to be a lot more costly than a freelance group, as an example.
Yeah.
But at some point you need to mature if you're shooting for growth.
Yeah.
And that's what we're...
So you can either try to build the team internally or hopefully find, shameless pitch for us, like an outside agency who does it all in like one house, so that you're not just trying to piece together a bunch of different parts.
Yep.
Cool. So we've talked a lot about what full stack marketing is and why you need it, but why isn't every digital led organization doing it?
Yeah, that's a great question. If you've listened to a lot of our podcasts, we've talked about the maturity of the digital marketing industry and the lack of technical marketing talent.
Yeah.
But I equate it to 2 things: lack of resources. Marketing teams are very under-resourced, and lack of skills. And skills not just to execute, but skills to even hire the ability to execute.
So people who cannot do the actual work, and then you're saying people in positions within a organization who don't know who to hire or not, don't have the right resources to hire?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah. The state of digital marketing is moving at such a fast pace that it's difficult for internal companies to stay up to date.
Yeah.
And that includes the leadership. So it's not a knock on them. It's that for companies to stay up to date, they have to be heavily dedicated to digital marketing.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons we're in that era of agencies, because these are groups of small groups of committed people dedicated to being experts at that craft and taking that craft inside other companies.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. We were talking at work the other day about like Threads coming out, right? Like Twitter competitor. But so many companies are like scrambling to figure out like, how do you use Threads, right? And we need to get an account, or do we need to get an account? But if marketing is under resourced and you have people just like scrambling to execute all the time, like you don't even have the time for somebody within your organization to even figure out any of that stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So like 6 months from now, even, they're not going to be like a Threads expert. I mean, maybe nobody will, but even like a year from now, it's like, once a new product comes out or a new change, and we've talked about Google Analytics, like the new version of that coming out, like if you're not doing it every day and it's just like one of 20 things you're trying to do, like you're never going to keep up with it.
Absolutely.
You're going to try to like hold on to that legacy software, you know, and never upgrade. And then one day you're going to open it up and be like, oh shit, like they forced me to change and I don't know how to do any of this.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. That's exactly what's happening. And going back to these companies being under-resourced and why they don't have full stack execution is, I just think there's misalignment, right? How often are we seeing insane goals put in front of marketing teams with disregard of the resources needed to hit those goals?
Yeah.
Right. And especially right now, we're seeing this private equity crunch. Some of those goals are coming from private equity organizations that barely know what's going on inside the company.
Yeah, I think the people at top don't really care how it gets done. It's just like, get it done sometimes, right? But, and then as a marketer, I assume it's pretty tough to say like, hey, I can't do it, or I need more people.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a missing component. If groups got more intentional about really sitting down and saying, hey, how does a goal align with our resources? I bet we'd begin to see a lot more awareness of the need for full stack execution.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes, you know, I'm like on the outside of some of these conversations, but it seems like if they do throw more money, it's like more ad budget and not necessarily like more resources to actually create, you know, all the pieces of like full stack execution. Again, whether it's like landing page templates or I don't know, just all like the actual like setup that makes things effective. It's just like, oh, we'll just toss it into like more spend.
Yeah.
Which maybe is like your funnel's leaky and you're just like then just like wasting dollars that don't get into like any kind of conversions.
Yeah. It's more dollars at mid-level strategies, and the outcome 80% of the times is drastic increase in CPL and cost per customer acquisition.
Yeah. So I think a lot of teams don't, or a lot of internal teams don't have all the resources that they need to do like full stack execution. And then as you were saying last time, with even private equity, like tightening up, like you might not even have the money to like, expand your team. So in those situations where, you know, the lead marketer, CMO is kind of handcuffed, that they can't expand resources, they can't spend more money, but they need to do these things, or they know they need to do these things. Like, what's your advice of where you go from there?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. You know, it's easy for me to sit here and say you need to hire 7 people that are experts at all facets of digital execution. But the reality is the world doesn't work that way.
Right.
If you haven't matured or have the resources to get to that stage, it's like everything else, which we define as just being strategic. So what do you do in a situation when you're under-resourced? A lot of us are in early stage startups. And what we suggest is layering growth. And what I mean by that is find the components of digital that you can be really, really good at within your resources, make them successful. And then as you gain success and you gain additional resources, begin to expand. So when I say layering growth, it's like, what can we be really, really good at? Maybe it's SEM. Maybe it's content strategies, like podcasts and building thought leadership, right? What is one segment that we can go really deep, that we can do really well, get that functioning, and then get additional resources to layer in further capabilities.
Got it. So you're saying instead of doing it all a little bit or being like very wide in your scope, just like center on one thing, do it well, figure out like the processes and the playbooks to do that really well, and then like move on to the next.
Correct.
So what would be an actual like tangible example of that? Because I always see like full funnel of like everything tied together, right? Like you have somebody come in from a blog post, and then you need to retarget them with like a Facebook ad, and then you got to do something else here, and then you have to have an effective landing page. So sometimes to me, it's like, oh my gosh, you need all those things. But like if you only focus on, I don't know, organic content or something, sure, you might get like top of funnel, but then how do you, you know, I feel like then you might lose everybody if you're just doing one thing at a time.
Yeah. There's just no way to do fully integrated marketing effectively when you don't have the resources.
Yeah.
So where
so it's like, don't even try. Like, don't kid yourself. Like, you're not going to do all 10 of these tactics.
Correct.
To some like effective way.
Correct.
Got it.
The core pieces have to be there. You need a website.
Yeah.
You need the core things needed. You might have like PPC, bottom of funnel keywords. Like baseline strategy should be in place. If you're at any stage of a growth company. But you need to find channels that your prospects exist that you can really go deep into.
Got it. So get all your like baseline, but then focus on like one channel or one tactic at a time to get like really good, and then move to the next instead of trying to like raise all at the same time.
I think that's a great way to put it. And if you ever listen to a lot of success stories from tech startups, that's typically what you hear. We won really early through SEO, or we won really early through LinkedIn thought leadership because we found a way to like build an audience there. So it's like that approach of let's obviously set our baseline, then let's go deep, and then let's begin to layer on the other components as our capabilities grow.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So we've talked about a lot of these things in principle, full stack marketing and execution in principle. Give me some like real life examples, maybe if people are doing it well or doing it poorly, or like stuff that viewers, listeners could go out and kind of see in the real world.
Yeah. I think great teams have the ability to do great work.
Yep.
So a couple of companies that really stand out to me, and I like to use them because they're very visible, right? A lot of us use them. You can see a lot of their output. One that I think is really impressive, obviously big company, is Airbnb.
Yeah.
Their ability to continually deploy campaigns across all tool sets, their ability to always be testing. If you check their homepage, it's different every other week.
Yeah.
The feedback loop that begins with their CEO on Twitter, where he's extremely proactive about feedback and product-led feedback so they can iterate quick. I think is extremely impressive. Obviously, I don't really know their day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
But they have 6-month deployment cycles as a company. They turn that over all the way from marketing to product. They do it every year. They are very public about it. And their execution is world-class. I mean, every touch point, whether it's a Facebook ad or a Hulu commercial, it's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
And that to me is a lot of what's driving their growth beyond a good product. They're becoming a really powerful brand that people are proud to be using Airbnb instead of a hotel.
Yeah.
So they're excellent full stack example, at least from external point of view.
Isn't their CEO a designer?
He might be.
I think he's the only CEO in like the top 50 companies that is a designer.
Nice.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Brian Chesney.
Chestnut.
Yeah.
Brian Chestnut, I think, is the
interesting Airbnb part. Airbnb fact, they got rid of all project managers last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he centralized everything in one headquarters so they can move faster.
Got it.
Which is
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to like people within like a team, or not even a team, but people within the marketing team all having to work together. Like it helps being in one spot, obviously, compared to just everybody being siloed doing a website or a new page or doing an ad or something like that.
Yeah. And if you read into it, his take is we've become a slow, bloated public company, and I want to get back to like...
Yeah. Isn't that the American dream?
What?
A slow, bloated company where people hate to show up for their job.
And then kind of a more relevant company, at least to the dynamics of who we tend to work with. A company I've been following pretty closely is called Metadata. They do really like iterative ad management software for agencies and companies, but they're growing extremely fast. If you follow their marketing, their teams on LinkedIn, they definitely take full stack execution very seriously. Their web experiences, their ad experiences are very robust. Once you engage with their brand, you're getting put through like an ad buyer's journey that's really intentional. And maybe I'm too aware as a marketer because I look at that.
Yeah.
But I find them to be very impressive, and I assume they're more in a realistic gap, where probably around 100 million ARR if I were to take a guess.
Yeah.
So I think those are two really interesting companies that individuals should try to take some influence from.
So what's the best way to check them out? Just go to their website and then get retargeted like crazy on your social platforms, or
yeah, a lot of what I do is I basically light market audit. You visit their websites, you try some of their engagement flows to make sure that you get pixeled well.
Yeah.
And just navigate what they're doing. Look at their content capabilities. Look at the rate of their content capabilities.
I know there's like a Facebook ad library that you can search. Is there a LinkedIn ad library?
Yeah.
You can see everybody's ads.
Facebook ad library, LinkedIn ad library, TikTok ad library. Those are great tools for that.
Cool. All right, let's move on to our Stack Stat segment.
Stack Stat.
Yeah, but first you gotta say it 10 times fast.
Stack Stat. I love it. As you guys know, we're chatting full stack marketing. And that term is coined from full stack development, which is something that really came into force in the late 2000s as the internet began to really take hold. This concept of companies that were building products needing to be able to go from front end to back end, and that was considered full stack development, right? Not just a website, but also web services and web apps and databases and all the things that make up the modern internet. And we think that's extremely relevant to what is needed today in the changing digital marketing landscape, where you need full stack marketing capabilities. So you can go full buyer's journey, go from awareness to conversion to sales, and really drive that full buyer's journey. And that's how we really look to drive forward this idea of full stack marketing. Crazy to believe the internet has been around for such a short time. And just 10 years ago, we were having these full stack development discussions.
I think you're wrong. I think the internet was around when I was born. That's what it feels like. Stat. Internet was invented in 1981.
Nice. Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
That's the year?
No, that's the year I was born. I just feel like it's
okay.
always been around. I can't remember like a time without internet. All right, so I think we're in business because we typically give good advice and do good to great execution. But why don't we change it up? You hit us with the segment of bad advice. What should people not do?
Yeah. One of my favorite segments, the digital marketing world is full of bad advice. So we're going to lead with some bad advice.
Don't tell us who you got it from.
The importance of full stack marketing is overrated and too costly. Really what teams should do so they can be lean and mean is hire freelance individuals from different areas, kind of piecemeal the team. And that's a way to save drastically on cost, but still be able to deploy full stack marketing capabilities.
That gives me anxiety just even you saying it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in the past I've been one of those pieces before, like as a freelancer or even as like an agency. And you spend so much time in meetings, emails, always just trying to figure out like what the hell's going on and what other people are doing. And then like as a designer, you would like execute and then have to just like redo because nobody else was on the same page. And I'm sure the content people and the marketing people felt the same way. But yeah, it's just like, to me, that's like a nightmare and like makes me just get nervous even thinking about it.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. And I mean, obviously there are situations, and I have no issue with freelancers. There's a lot of amazing freelancers.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And there's situations where you need some capabilities for some amount of time and it's acceptable way to do it.
I think it's underrated how good of a project manager you need and how they need to know like about design, about you. They need to know so much about each one of these things that they're having people execute on and really coordinate. I think there's so few people who can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what ends up happening is it might work. It might be it's a good solution for a one-off project, right? But if you're, again, looking to be a digitally led company that's continually iterating, continually deploying complete integrated marketing,
yeah,
the workflows and the collaboration and the alignment around success are extremely important, and the ability for the marketing lead to not, like you mentioned, just be a project manager, which is what will end up happening in that situation.
Yeah, like if you're doing a V1 or testing something, like sure, go for it because you don't have to like hire or commit to things. But if you're really like leaning in and want to do marketing for real, it's just like, yeah, it's a complete nightmare from my experience.
Yeah, so there you go. Some bad advice.
Bad advice. So Dan, what's the top 3 reasons why companies need or should have full stack marketing execution?
Yeah, good segment. The top 3.
Top 3. That's
Let's
the top 10. Top 3.
let's talk through them. So 1, complete and better execution. We believe that integrated marketing is how you win in today's environment. We believe the consumer is really educated and robust in how they engage with technology. So the ability to do complete and quality execution is one of the top 3 reasons to have full stack marketing.
Mm-hmm.
2, workflows and playbook collaboration. I think this is what I would consider the most important piece. Not only do you have people willing to do work, but are they able to collaborate in ways to make work extremely effective and fast. Right? In today's world, you need to be fast and effective. You just talked about threads, and a month ago was ChatGPT, and a month before that it was crypto. Like, the need to be iterative, to be fast, to have workflows, to be able to spin up new and unique things are extremely important. So workflows and playbook collaboration. And 3, and really kind of an output of the last 2, is speed and effectiveness. It is a requirement in today's environment to be fast and effective with your digital marketing. And I think this is why having those capabilities and having those workflows is so important, because the output of that is speed and effectiveness.
Cool. That's my way of ending it. Cool.
Great.
Awesome.
Great job.
Way to go.